All right, good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Take a few minutes here to get a few people on. If you are seeing this, let me know that you're out there in the old interweb lands. Let me know where you're at. How's everyone doing? I got a jam-packed show for you today. Interesting week. Crazy week. There he is. David, what's up, brother? How you doing? I got to call you this afternoon and get you on doing this with me here in the next couple of weeks. Hanging in there. Good. Good. Yeah, let's catch up this afternoon if possible. Good. Who else do we got out there? Don't forget, guys, share this. Leave a comment. Let us know where you're at. We're on all the different platforms right now. So appreciate those of you Instagram tuning in. LinkedIn, good morning. All right. Crazy week. Not crazy, but just busy. Busy week. It's definitely a week to remember, right? Let's dive into this as we wait as others come on. This week was definitely a week to remember. And I think the first thing we need to discuss and talk about is this week was, 9/11 was this week. And it's been 23 years already. And each year, yeah, it's crazy to think that it's been 23 years. And each year I always share, like, where were you? Do you remember where you were when you heard the news? Those of you that are new, I'll share this with you. I remember I was in Tucson, Arizona. I was on golf links driving west just in front of, at the time, I was right in front of Davis Monthan Air Force Base, and I was coming up on the Craycroft gate, and it was backed up past Swan, or I think it was Swan and then Craycroft. I forget. Anyway, I know it was backed up, and I'll never forget looking. There was a semi trailer that was trying to turn on into the base. Everything was locked down. The Humvees were out, guards were out, and I was listening to a morning show. John and Frank was the name of the radio show, and usually these guys were. It was kind of a comedic show normally. Um, and I remember, like, things just got really serious, and they said, "Hey, this was, a plane just hit one of the towers in New York City." And I was like, "Man, that's kind of a, like, why would you joke about something like that?" Right? And then a couple minutes later, a second plane hit, and I was on my way to work, and I was late for work, and when I got to work, they had it in the break room, and it was on the TV. So yeah, it was crazy. I was already in the military at that time. I had joined the military in the 90s, late 90s. I'm that old. So yeah, this was something different. So this year, 23 years already. So when you watch this, where were you? Where were you on 9/11, 2001? Crazy. Other things that have happened this week. Well, before I do that, I'm sorry. Let me back up a second. So on 9/11 this week, it's important that we never forget what happened um, on 9/11. Other things that have happened this week. James Earl Jones passed away at 93 years old. Known for his movie and theater career, Star Wars, Eight Men Out, just to name a few. He played Darth Vader in Star Wars. Fielded, or not Eight Men Out. I put that wrong. Field of Dreams. He's won Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, and Tony Awards. But I think above all of that, he was a United States Army veteran. James Earl Jones was a United States Army veteran during the Korea time frame. He was going to the University of Michigan, joined their ROTC program, graduated, was commissioned as a second lieutenant, attended Ranger School, and received his Ranger tab. And then he was promoted to first lieutenant prior to leaving the military. He spent a few years in the Army, but I did not know that about Mr. Jones, that he has Ranger tab. So that was pretty cool. On top of all the amazing, his acting career was fun to watch. So, yes, Ken, good morning to you, brother. Appreciate you as always. Why don't we get into this? Like I said, guys, share this. If you're seeing this is we've been shadow banned, and I found out why, because some of the social platforms, I won't name any particular one or ones, but you know me, I call it how it is. I see, they don't like, when you talk about an organization or and I say organization, like government organization, they don't like it. So we're going to do just that today. So hit the like button and share this, please. First up in the queue, Judge Blass VA orders more housing for veterans on the West LA campus. Have you guys seen this? This came out earlier this week, it looks like. In a shocking ruling that blasts U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs for turning its back on disabled veterans that it was designed to help. Yeah, the VA is supposed to help the veterans. Right? Federal judge today ordered, and this was earlier in the week, I think it was Wednesday, federal judge ordered additional permanent housing on the agency's West Los Angeles campus. Excuse me, I get itch. U.S. District Judge David O. Carter also determined that the department had been illegally leasing portions of the campus to a private school, UCLA's baseball team, an oil company, and other private interests, and ordered those contracts to be terminated immediately. This was great. This was great news. I love that a judge comes in and is blasting the VA for not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Oh, but it gets better. In the 125-page ruling, the judge wrote that the cost of the VA's inaction is veterans' lives. I think a lot of us vets that watch this show, I know there's a lot of us out there that probably agree to that. Over the past 5 decades, Judge Carter wrote, the VA in West LA has been infected by bribery, corruption, and the influence of the powerful and their lobbyists, and enabled by a major educational institution and excluding veterans' input on their own lands. Judge Carter himself is a Vietnam War veteran, found that the VA, quote, has allowed the drastic reduction of the size of the original plot of land that was deeded in 1888 to be an old soldier's home. And a series of lengthy renewable leases, the VA authorized leaseholders to build permanent athletic facilities after permitting these concrete structures to be built on veterans' land. The judge held that for years that the VA budgeted at a $407 billion annually has quietly sold off. And that money and those homes need to be built. I think this is a win for the veteran community out there in LA. Long time coming. Long time coming. Heather, good morning to you. Oh, Ken, that's a great question. Who is that district's congressman or woman? I love the fact that somebody finally called out the VA and then named a top school like UCLA, um, and an oil company. Like I'm really curious to see what's going to happen now. I would love to see them have to tear down the baseball field, get rid of the oil company that's on there. I think it would be great. Build the homes for the homeless veterans that are there in LA and use it for the veterans, not migrants. That is the veterans' land. It's been deeded, as it said, all the way back to 1888. Let's start taking better care of our veterans, especially in LA. My God. Let's move on. How many of you watched the follow SpaceX? I admittedly don't. However, this caught my attention. SpaceX Polaris Dawn astronauts perform historic first private spacewalk in orbit that happened this year. Good morning over there to Instagram people. Thank you very much. This one blew my mind. There was a billionaire that went up in space with SpaceX this earlier this week. They launch 15 hours later. The crew made their first bit of space history when they reached an altitude of 870 miles. It's higher than any other crewed mission since the Apollo program half a century ago. Now, after reaching that altitude, or excuse me, after that they reached that altitude. Then I guess what happened is they lowered the altitude and came down to about 458 miles, and then did an entire spacewalk that lasted an hour and 46 minutes. And it was a billionaire civilian that went out and did this spacewalk with two of the astronauts from SpaceX as well. Pretty interesting stuff. If it was real, right? I know. I'm sorry, I had to say it. I know some of you out there were thinking it. Is it real? I think. I mean, you think about it. That's pretty cool that we're going back into that. But it's very. I don't know. Kind of hard to believe at the same time, but it's interesting. So, congratulations to the billionaire that walked in space. Good for you. Be interesting to see what happens now with the space programs moving forward, though. I think. Are we going to start doing more space exploration? We'll see. I threw that in there just because I thought it was great. Now let's get down to the meat and taters and stuff here of what happened this week. I'm talking about the great debate. That's what I called it. It was everything but that, I'm sure. What the hell happened? What happened with the debate this week? By a show of hands and a show of hands only, how many of you actually watched the debate? Anybody? Bueller? I watched maybe 5 minutes of it and realized just how bad this was going to be. And now I think what's great now, especially with social media, is that you're seeing like all of the different memes from both sides. I know one actually was one that's saying ABC. There was a Democrat that came out and said it was a former Clinton aide that said there needs to be an investigation on ABC because it looks like that was rigged. Wow. It didn't from what I did watch and what I did see, it was just kinda like there was a lot of, I think there was a statistic in there somewhere where they fact checked Trump on several different things, like 7 different things, and they didn't fact check Harris once. I think the other thing that I saw, on social media this week was the earrings that she had on. Apparently, those were allegedly, those are like, uh Bluetooth earrings or whatnot, and I feel like she was being coached. I did notice that she was speaking a little more articulately, not her norm, I would say, this week. That's my personal opinion. You can disagree with me. That's fine. It didn't look like it was an even level playing field. My opinion. My opinion. I could be wrong. But everything that was going on, I mean, there was what did Trump say? That somebody was eating cats in Springfield, Ohio, or something like that, I think it was, or somewhere in Ohio. The migrants were, but then, and I guess ABC said, no, that didn't happen. But then you're seeing all over social media people saying, hey, these migrants are taking ducks from the ponds. And I'm just saying, ABC, I think, I mean, the ratings were already going down with ABC. I think this is really going to tank them. Ken, yeah, 3-on-1. That's basically what I thought of it. Trump held his own. I think the big thing with Trump is that he gets off. Sometimes he kind of goes on a tangent. It doesn't stay on topic with stuff. I think if he just stayed more on topic with stuff, it would be much better. Again, my opinion. Harris, I got no opinion on that. That is just a crap show. Maybe Ken, maybe because I said earlier, Ken agrees with me. Harris might have been fed answers, and that wouldn't surprise it. At this point, should we really be surprised in just what's really going on? These last few elections have really opened up eyes, I think, um, or I would like to think that the people are seeing kind of through the BS, and maybe they're not. There's a lot of people out there that you know don't see through it. But you look at these commercials and you see, this last debate, and you got to think to yourself, like, what the hell are we coming to as a society, as a country, to see this happen? And then the thing that really I lost a lot of respect for ABC was when Trump made a comment, and I'm paraphrasing here. Something It was something along the lines of him being shot at, the assassination attempt, and they pushed that. They didn't want to talk about it. They just pushed through that to hurry through that. It's just, I don't know. It wasn't much of a debate when you really think about it. What's going to happen next? Only time will tell. But speaking of some of the things that they did discuss during the debate, brings me to my next one. Ohio governor sending law enforcement to Springfield and during to address the migrant crisis. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine is sending law enforcement to the city of Springfield in effort to address the migrant crisis. Good. Needs it. I heard there was a couple of numbers going around, but it said Springfield has grown by like a third. Governor says, I want people of Springfield and Clark County to know that as we move forward, we will continue to do everything we can to help the community deal with the surge of migrants. Sorry, my bad. Migrants. DeWine said in a statement, quote, the federal government has not demonstrated that they have any kind of plan to deal with the issue. We will not walk away, end quote. So, do we have anybody that watches that's over in Clark County? Leave a comment if you are. Or if you do, be curious to see what happens moving forward. Is it going to get worse? Is this going to get worse before December? We'll see. Next up. Ooh, this one. This one here, I really want your guys' opinion on. Executive order may threaten free speech of Pennsylvania government employees. Now, before I read this, I got to tell you, I'm on the fence on this one, and I'll tell you why after I read it here. But Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro issued an executive order earlier this year that may be interpreted as a gag on government employees, threatening their free speech rights, according to a report from the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. Their abbreviation is FIRE. So, according to that executive order, the state employees are prohibited from engaging in anything considered scandalous or disgraceful. While the executive order says that Shapiro's administration supports free speech, it also states that no employee, appointee, or official of the executive branch of the Commonwealth shall engage in scandalous or disgraceful conduct or any other behavior on or off duty, which may bring the service of the Commonwealth into a dispute. I can see why they would say that, to me, this is common sense. You see this in a lot of corporate companies uh, all over the country. Like, hey, you might be off the clock, but you're still representing the company. Don't give the company a bad name. And that's, whether you think that's right or wrong, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. But I would also think that there's a lot of that would be common sense too. Like if you have a job you don't necessarily that you either enjoy or that is paying your bills, you don't want to necessarily do anything that's disgraceful or give a bad reputation to that particular job, right? What are your guys' thoughts on this? Should uh, government employees, and we're going to stay state employees, government state employees, and this just happens to be in Pennsylvania, but I don't know. I think, to me, I feel like that's common sense. Like, don't do anything stupid, basically. That could potentially put the state in a job. Now, that being said, at the same time, you're like, listen, I'm off duty. I'm off the clock. I'll do whatever the hell I want. Well, then there's repercussions for that. Am I wrong? Let me know what you think. What do we got next? Oh, you guys are gonna love this one. I promise you. Sean Diddy Combs fails to show up to court, ordered to pay $100 million. Oh, I love it. Sean P. Diddy Combs ordered to pay $100 million in a sexual assault judgment after failing to appear in court. Well, there you have it. I mean, we all saw this coming, right? Case involves a Michigan inmate, Derek Lee Cardio Smith, who alleges that Combe drugged and assaulted him in 1997. It goes on and on. The article also talks about Diddy's son being charged with sexual assault and whatnot, but for him to not show up to a court date and just pay $100 million, I don't know. Find him, not find him, but find him, throw him in jail. Ken, I want to go back to Ken because Ken's bringing up a good point here. As a government employee, we have certain guidelines that we have to follow up. I agree. If you're going to work for it's one of those things. Like if you're working for the job, follow the rules. It's that simple. Thank you, Ken, for that. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. One more news article for the week. This one, the DNC is going all out on this one. DNC flies anti-Trump banners over college football games in several swing states. The Democratic National Committee flew planes carrying banners with anti-Trump messages over college football games in several major swing states this past Saturday. I wonder what they're going to do tomorrow. Oh, goodness. Let me see here. They flew signs over Michigan Stadium at the University of Michigan. Let's see here. Stanford Stadium at the University of Georgia. Beaver Stadium at Pennsylvania State University, and Camp Randall at the University of Wisconsin. The planes flying over Michigan and Penn State seek to tie Trump and running mate J.D. Vance to far-right manifesto Project 2025, which was created by the Heritage Foundation. Now, Trump has disavowed Project 2025 multiple times and said that he has no intention implementing its full policy if he wins the election. However, figures who work for Trump contributed to that project, which to me doesn't mean squat. One of the banners also aims to exploit one of the most historic rivalries in college football. The plane set to fly over Michigan will fly a banner that reads, J.D. Vance loves Ohio State plus Project 2025. I gotta say that is very creative. But at the same time, you have to see what's really going on here. They're not pulling any punches. They're going DNC is going all out. It's propaganda at its finest. And if you can't see that, well, sorry. Good luck to you. David. Yeah, another organization. Thank you. Heather works for an insurance company. Yeah, I get it. I remember the last the last two corporate companies that I worked for. You had to be careful what you put because you could be held accountable for the stuff that you put on social media. Well, social media was just kind of coming out at that time, but you had to act accordingly in public nonetheless. What do we have over here on the Instagram? It's sad what is happening. It is sad what's happening. I brought the last one up because I think it's interesting what the DNC is, renting planes and flying flags over these swing states. But at the same time, I want everybody to realize we have to realize this is a big propaganda machine. We know this. I say it every week. When I wrap up the show, think for yourself, right? So let's start doing that. Think for yourself. We got to move on, guys. We got to move on. I'd love this. Keep sharing this. Like, share. Leave your comments. If you're watching this now, if you watch this later on the weekend, leave a comment. Let me know you're out there and tell me what you think. Answer some of the questions that we asked. But we got to move on. You guys see the shirt that I got on right now today. This is from our friends over at Team Addo. This was, I think, last year or the year before. I want to say it was the year before fishing tournament, charity fishing tournament that they have, which is coming up next week. So next week, we will not be here. We will be in Tampa, Florida with our friends from Team Addo. Friday night is going to be their All Heroes Welcome Ball. They're doing it's a Havana Nights theme. In fact, if I was more prepared, there we go. There you go. If you're in the Tampa area next week, come on down. Let us know. Get your tickets. You can go to teamaddo.org. That's teamaddo.org and get your tickets. Havana Nights Attire. It's going to be at Armature Works. Great, great venue. Looking forward. There's going to be a live auction, raffle, live music, good times. This is always fun. It's always a fun time. That's going to be Friday night, and then next Saturday, excuse me, is their All Heroes Open at the Hula Bay Club there in Tampa. So if you don't have your tickets and you want to participate, go to the website and get them muy pronto. I hope to see you guys out there. It's a great time. This is my 4th year going down there. 4th or 5th year, I forget, but it's a great organization. They raised money for their veterans closet, and they suit up veterans, transitioning veterans getting out of the military. It's a great, great program. We love this organization. Go check them out. Team Atto. All right, let's get into some of the shows. We got a few shows that did stuff. Want to thank all the shows that did episodes this week. If you want to see the shows that are on Heroes Media Group, simply go to heroesmediagroup.com, click on podcast. You can see a list of all the shows in our directory there. If you are a podcaster and you're looking to be a part of HMG, give us a shout, shoot us an email, info@heroesmediagroup.com, and become part of the HMG family. There's a lot of benefits to being a part of a larger network like us. We also offer a whole bunch of services, audio, video, production, and a slew of other things. You can check that out on our service page at heroesmediagroup.com. Getting into the shows, first up in the queue. And David, thank you. Good looking out, brother. First up in the queue, the strategic veteran. This week, Stephen Crane. He's a Marine Corps veteran whose journey from the military service to civilian life is marked with an incredible resilience and transformation. Shares his inspiring journey of overcoming childhood trauma, intense bullying, and then shares his military challenges to becoming a successful entrepreneur and veteran advocate. After experiencing a severe adversity, including homelessness and personal struggles, he founded Veteran Roadmap. It's a nonprofit dedicated to supporting veterans in their transition to civilian life. His work has helped thousands of veterans build financial legacies. Go check it out. It's called The Strategic Veteran. Next up this week, Homefront Sit Rep Podcast. David's on here right now. They do a couple of shows each week. This week, Garrett Bias, I hope I said that right, a retired Marine Corps pilot, post-retirement in 2015. Garrett confronted challenges common among veterans: anxiety, depression, a sense of displacement. I certainly have felt that myself. Turning to alcohol as a crutch. And it wasn't until a suicidal ideation took hold where he said, you know what, enough's enough. So rather than traditional addiction treatment, he found a path that's shaped by mentoring, emphasizing self-worth, rediscovering identity, and tapping into inherent strength. This was a really great episode. Check it out. It's called the Homefront Sit Rep Podcast. Again, they do a couple of shows live here on HMG and on their Facebook page, or all of their social platforms. Homefront Sit Rep Podcast. Go check it out. Next up, we got the Professional Rule Breaker. Are you really in control of your money? Or is your wife? Or is it running? Is it running the show? This week, Timothy Yurt, founder and CEO of Tier 1 Capital, to talk to you about the money habits that might be holding your business back. He shares how many business owners are unknowingly giving up control of their cash flow and how you can stop doing that. He also gives some amazing insights on changing how we think about money, debt, and growth. This was a great episode. Make sure you have a pen and pad handy. Take some notes. It's called the Professional Rule Breaker. Next up, we got Patriots Inside the Wire next week. Tracy's going to have Gold Star family Heather Hawker on. She's also a Gold Star wife. Gold Star Patriots Inside the Wire. She does a couple shows each time. Let's see, Monday and Wednesday nights. Mostly Wednesday nights, big show. Go check it out. Patriots Inside the Wire. Next up, Bump in the Road. This week, loneliness and isolation seem to be an epidemic. This week, 3 women, Pat and 2 other ladies, all with very different life experiences, talk about how does each find connection, social isolation, loneliness, childhood trauma. There's a burn survivor, cancer survivor, heart transplant, near-death experience, mental health, and a slew of other topics that they talk about in this episode. Very eye-opening. It's called Bump in the Road. Go check it out. Next up, we got Misfit Nation podcast. They do a few shows each week. This particular one here with our man Rich, he has guest Christian Rudberg. Christine Rugberg, an inspiring author, podcaster, screenwriter, clergy member, and producer. Her unique upbringing overseas in Ghana, South America, and Lahore, Pakistan, profoundly shaped her worldview. As a third culture kid, she grew up immersed in different cultures, which instilled in her deep appreciation for human connection and community. Really cool episode. Check it out. It's called Misfit Nation Podcast. Why are these not showing up more? There we go. Next up, Label Free Podcast. This week, our gal Deanna, in my opinion, probably the hardest working woman in the podcast industry. She welcomes fitness expert, certified nutritionist, businesswoman, media personality, and author Julian Michaels. Known for her tough love approach on NBC's The Biggest Loser and her appearances on The Doctors, Julian shares her journey in the fitness and wellness industry, including her latest venture, the podcast, Keeping It Real with Julian Michaels. This was a cool episode. You guys remember The Biggest Loser, Julian? She was a tough love. That's a nice way of putting it with her. This is a cool episode. Check it out, Label Free Podcast. Next up, we got your 6 at 6 with the People's Patriot Project. They do a show 3 times a week. This one here, this past Sunday. This is going to be a very sensitive episode. They got 2 guests. They'll take you through their stories. Both have served. They each have different story to tell. Their experiences with suicide after service. There's no single situation that is the same as anybody else's, but there are people in front of you right now that want you to be here tomorrow. Such a true statement. And with that being said, let me say this. September is Suicide Awareness Month. I failed to mention that at the beginning of the show. Shame on me. You do matter. I said that last week. You matter. That was the title of last week's show. It hasn't changed. We got to keep this going. Check on your battle buddies, please. Next up, we got Other Side of the Firewall. A panel this week. The conversation discusses about cybersecurity breaches and the need for new approach to cybersecurity. There was an article that they were discussing that mentioned the discussion that highlights the importance of cyber resilience and protective measures to mitigate risk. Man, I'm on a roll today. The panelists also discuss the significance of partnerships and collaboration between departments within organizations. So true. If you're organization, you're working for a large organization, you should be talking to every other departments on how you can better your cybersecurity. Other Side of the Firewall hands down, one of the best shows out there when it comes to this topic. Go check it out. Next up, we got the Joel Evans Show. This week, Anna Ray, she's the founder of GST Body, discusses the importance of FASCA and how it has been overlooked by traditional medicine and fitness. She shares her personal journey of feeling trapped in her body and the frustration of not finding the answers from professionals. Great episode. Check it out. Joel Evans Show. A few more here. Stay with me. Next up, we got Because Bikers Matter. This week, special guest Antonio, a.k.a. Tone, shares his journey from growing up in Gary, Indiana, to becoming an avid motorcyclist and a community advocate. He shares his insight into the involvement of the Latin American Motorcycle Association, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to community service and motorcycling. Highlights the organization's growth since 1977. But the cool thing, the listeners are going to appreciate Antonio's heartfelt dedication to his community, his family oriented approach to motorcycling, and his passion to give back. This was a cool episode. Guy, big sweetheart of a guy. Because Bikers Matter. Check it out. Last up for the shows this week, and then we got a couple more announcements this week. Chasing Happiness. This week, Leslie Dreffen. She's a seasoned somatic guide and mindful mentor. Ryan sits down with Leslie, talk about her incredible journey from high-pressure world of TV news to discovering the profound effects of microdosing, and how that's helped her happiness and well-being. She shares her transformation from a top news anchor battling personal demons to a thriving advocate of microdosing and spiritual healing. Amazing episode on this one. Check it out. It's called Chasing Happiness. Shout out to our network sponsors, friends. My Tax Fella, Forget Genetics. Go check them out. It's hunting season. Deer hunters, I'm telling you, Forget Genetics. It's the best mineral stuff you'll ever find. Go to forgetgenetics.com. My Tax Fella, shout out to my man, Anthony. Anthony, I know you're watching this. Hit me up. We got to do lunch. My Tax Fella, they've handled our taxes and our bookkeeping for almost a decade now. JB Auto Clothiers. We're going to be seeing that crew in Tampa next week. Thank you. HMG Beverage, our parent company. If you need coffee, go to hmgbeverage.com. We'll send fresh roasted coffee to you. Motorcycle Safety Lawyers, Home Studio Mastery with our man Junaid. The Freedom People, Jim Neary's Live Bait and Tackle, who is I got a text from them last night. They are living it up in Ocean City, Maryland this week. Doing a fishing thing down there. Love you guys. Thank you. Warriors on the Water LTD, another great nonprofit organization. Check them out. Thank you guys. That's it. Again, don't forget, next week, I'm going to be down in Tampa. If you are in Florida and you're going to be around Tampa next weekend, hit me up. I'm going to be down there pretty much from Wednesday till Sunday. Wednesday to Sunday, I'm going to be down there. So if you're going to be in Tampa or you're in Florida from Wednesday to Sunday of next week, hit me up. Let me know. And yeah, let's get together. Appreciate all of y'all. Again, this weekend, get out of the house. It's been a crazy week. It's been an emotional week. And don't forget to protect. You get out of the house, walk around, shut the phone off, get the computer. Just do it for like 2 hours. That's why my challenge to you is stay off the phone for 2 hours and get outside. So much propaganda, so much stuff going around. Just don't get the 45-degree syndrome. Sit there and just flip through your phone all day. Get outside. All right. If you like this, or if there's a topic that you want me to talk about next week or the following week, leave us a message, DM us, or leave a comment. Please share this out, and let's get more eyes on this. And here in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have another co-host, so stay tuned for that. That's all the time I have today, guys. I appreciate all of you. I really do. I say that from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. God bless America. We'll see you guys next week in Tampa. Take care.